Today we're talking about project lifecycle and what are the phases required to manage a project from beginning to the end. Hello everyone, I'm Sudhi Rami. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you'll be notified of all my videos and topics that will be posted in the future. What does a project manager need to do to manage a project from beginning to the end? If you're familiar with PMI or Project Management Institute, which is a global professional organization for project management, PMI breaks down the project life cycle into what they call the 5 process groups. And from the beginning, that starts with initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and control, which goes across, and your closing. So let's start with the first process group or the first phase, initiation. Initiation is when a project is just starting. So in this phase, you want to define the goals and objectives of the project and who your project team is. So as you work with your sponsor to define project goals and objectives and high-level scope of what this project is all about, content of this information goes into what is called the project charter. If you're interested in knowing more, click on the link above. I have a video that talks about everything about project charter. Another activity, as mentioned, when you're trying to identify your project team, is really identifying all the stakeholders in your project. Project team, who is the team that's going to be working on your project on a day-to-day basis, is a subgroup of your stakeholders, but stakeholders can span across anyone who gets impacted by your project. And the next item is a high-level project plan. So the information that goes as part of your charter, you will need to identify a high-level timeline, scope and objective, some key milestones, some of your risks and issues. Again, because this is at the beginning of the project, it's pretty high level, but you want to capture all the information that's already known to set the foundation of your project before you get started. Now on to planning. Planning is taking what you started in initiation, the high-level scope and timeline and information that you captured for your charter, and take it to the next detailed level. You're going to have a plan for every one of those areas. You will take the high-level scope, map out the detailed requirements, high-level timeline and milestones, and create a work breakdown structure and a detailed project schedule. If you're not familiar with work breakdown structures and creating a schedule, I have a video. You can click on the link up above to learn more. Start putting together all your communication plan. What type of communication is going to be put together with which one of your stakeholders, how often. I can get into more details of each of these deliverables in my future videos. But at a high level, let's talk about some of the major plans that get created during the planning phase. So we'll have a communication plan, a resource plan, a budget plan if your project has a budget, and your risk management plan. How are you planning to identify risks and issues throughout the project, and how are you going to mitigate it? And for all of these, you will create a documentation or a log so you can keep track of them. All the different plans that you create during this phase is going to be the roadmap for the rest of your project, and it's going to guide the project team on how to execute and deliver the project objectives. Next is the execution phase, executing on the work, the actual work that needs to get done to deliver the product or the service that the project is intended to do. This is the implementation of the project plan that you just created. So everything that is on your project plan or the work breakdown structure that you created is now getting accomplished. And so the project team and project manager can take the appropriate action to bring it back on track. You will be keeping track of this on your project schedule and on your action logs to make sure that these activities are being done by the right person that they were assigned to, by the time that they were committed to, and within the budget that was estimated. Now, monitoring and control, although by itself is a process group, it is a phase that goes across the last few phases. Monitoring and control is a method to be able to observe track of the progress of the project and make sure that it is going according to plan. And identify any deviation from the original plan. During monitoring and control, you want to monitor the progress, you want to make sure that the project deliverables are being completed, and you stay on track with the schedule and within budget. You manage all the risks and issues that are being identified. You keep track and maintain your risks and issues log and what their mitigation plan is and who's responsible and when they should be completed. You want to manage resources. Now, resources can be considered any of your project team members and stakeholder management, or it can be your budget or time, which is your schedule. So any deviation from your original plan that you had identified during the planning phase should be mitigated and brought back on track. It is very common for changes to occur throughout the duration of the project. Proper change management also occurs as part of your monitoring and control. And that brings us to the last and final phase or process group called closing or closure. Within closing phase, you validate all the project deliverables were delivered as planned and according to client's expectation. So the final product or service that the project was intended to do has been delivered as expected. If there is any of those deliverables that did not get accomplished, you want to document that and document what is the plan. Is this being transitioned off to another project team or becoming an operational activity for a team to handle, or that it's going to be managed as a different phase of the project and treated like a new project? You review the project and evaluate how well you did based on some of the metrics and key indicators that you had defined originally that would explain what project success is and have you met those expectations. Also want to review how the project was performed and if there are any rooms for improvement. This all goes into your lessons learned, which I can touch on in another video in the future. What have you done well? What can be done better? And what is the action plan that you can apply to a next project to repeat what went well and improve what didn't? If there are any activities remaining, you want to make sure that you transfer the ownership to the proper group and document this in your closing memo. And doing a post-project review with your sponsor, get your sponsor and your client's final acceptance of the project. Goal of these project phases or the project management life cycle is to ensure that the project is completed on time, on budget, and according to expectations and quality that your stakeholders expect. I hope this has been an informative video. If you're interested in learning more, hit the subscribe button, as I will be posting more videos that do a deep dive into each one of these areas. And if you are interested, leave a comment below and check back later as I address those. Thanks for watching.